Hello and welcome to the Finding Speed League Season 1 UK Tour here on Apex Racing TV and the Finding Speed YouTube channel as well. My name's Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Jim Hodgson, and Sam Kumo is operating the cameras, and we are bringing you this round one of this 5-race season. 5 1-hour races in this community series. And whoever wins out will have a lot of pride for themselves. So goal beats lots of drivers though. 40 cars on the grid expected for each of these 5 rounds. And 1-hour races to decide each of them, with a pit stop and visiting some of the best circuits in the UK as well. Very happy that you are joining us for this new series, and we're going to be bringing you races in this championship every other week over the next 8 weeks or so, and we are very much looking forward to it. Round 1, Brands Hatch, to find out who the first victor of the season will be. Once again, my name is Sam Fitzpatrick in the comms box. Jim Hodgson is with us as well, and Jim, it is pretty great to be at Brands Hatch. I mean, as a UK guy, I have a lot of attachments to this place. It's a proper classic circuit. Of course, James Hunt's winning rounds here and many other fantastic British drivers. But just from a pure driving standpoint as well, it is a proper challenge, elevation change, mega narrow grass lining the circuit. And it's really nice to be visiting back here once again.
Absolutely, positively thrilled. It, as you say, iconic track, those high-speed corners, you know, elevation change that you mentioned, racing through the countryside. What more could you ask for?
Definitely. I mean, if you're going to start off a British Championship, this is the place to go. I know Silverstone obviously is the home of British motorsport, but it doesn't quite have the same feeling of the other British circuits. This place has not changed over the last few decades, and will be a great challenge for these drivers in these GT3 cars. And I think in recent times, Jim, I think on simulators generally, you know, when you've got the opportunity to drive, you know, Formula 1 cars from over the years, we've got the potential to drive, you know, LMP1s and P2s and of course GTEs as well. We maybe forget just how quick these GT3 cars are, but they are absolutely mega. And I'm sure if I was ever in the passenger seat in one of these things driving around a circuit like this, I would be screaming my head off. I am sure they are absolutely rapid, especially around this circuit. It's a very good car track combination. Maybe these GT3 cars are a little bit too fast, but some of the biggest series in GT3s do visit this place very often. It's a real good car track combo.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you know, these are some of my favorite cars. They look like, you know, they look like the cars that they're based on. I think we all enjoy. I certainly enjoy that. It's, as you say, the cars might be a little bit overpowered for the size of the track, but at least we're on the larger configuration. And there's still some of those moments where it's, you know, everything the car can do as fast as it can possibly go. So we're definitely in for a treat.
A little bit of an opportunity to stretch the legs, but overtaking will be tricky. We're currently in a 1 hour 40 practice session. I've only got a couple more minutes to go, as you can see in the top left of your screen. We'll tick over the practice session, then we'll jump into a qualifying session. That qualifying session is going to be 20 minutes in length. All the drivers will be on circuit at the same time, and they can set up as many laps as they want. So maybe tyre strategy a little bit, something to watch out for that. And then, of course, as I've said a couple of times, 1 hour race coming up. You've got the pit stop as well. I think, I mean, I've kind of covered similar races to this in the past, Jim, with this format. The Sim Racers World GT Championship used to run pretty much an identical schedule or format to this one. I believe in that they had limited fuel, whereas this you don't, but that pit stop is going to be a big decision. The tyres will be degrading for these drivers. I think rather tricky to overtake circuit like this, it's going to be a tricky decision when to come into the pit. I mean, you can pit early, but then of course you might be in traffic and you're going to have old tyres at the end, or you might stretch it long. For the round one, and some inexperienced drivers out here as well, that's going to be a tricky decision with what to go for that.
No question about it. And I believe we're running on 69% fuel today, so we might see a stop. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the drivers have to make a mandatory pit stop, but yeah, that's 69% will limit their fuel certainly, and yeah, even if you're fuel saving a lot, I don't think you'd quite be able to get to the end. So yeah, I think that's going to be a necessity for the drivers. And will be something to watch out for. And I guess, of course, the tyres as well. Having to take them separately. Probably not going to have enough time to take tyres unless we get a rogue safety car, though. I don't believe that would be a potential unless we do get a big pile up. But so yeah, will be tricky for the drivers to decide that. We are currently just ending the practice. We will soon take over to the qualifying session. Just a reminder of kind of why we're here, Finding Speed, the Finding Speed League, on the Finding Speed YouTube channel. And of course, if you're looking to improve your improve your racecraft, improve your experience on iRacing, get improved as a driver, if you want to have access to some really high quality setups, you know, check out Finding Speed. Watch all the videos. I watched one or two of them earlier on. Really were helpful on the iRacing sim to check out, and already quite a few subscribers as well. 1,500 subscribers. So certainly doing something very good at the moment is Russell Barnes. So big thanks to him for setting up this league. And yeah, going to have some awesome racing. Many of the drivers in this are kind of followers of Finding Speed, and we'll all be learning from one another. A lot of them will be running the same setups, and really just an opportunity to improve your racecraft in a relatively relaxed format. Of course, you know, the results will matter to these drivers a lot, but not too much on the line, and these drivers can just build up their racecraft, build up their driving experience, and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun doing it. I mean, of course, Jim, you've organised the Formula Prox series in the past, and I think that's kind of got a similar feel to this. It's kind of very much everyone knows one another, and I think by the end of the 5 weeks, these guys are going to know each other really well. It's quite nice in a league compared to, say, an official series. You can race shoulder to shoulder with the same guys week in, week out. You can have a proper championship against them. I think that's what this series is going to be about.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, we're going to see a lot of great midfield battles. It's, as you say, you know, the drivers know each other, so maybe they have a little bit of trust for one another, but also there's not that, you know, let's say, feeling of acrimony if they should have a little bit of an argy-bargy moment. Let's hope. But yeah, I think this is kind of where the fun is, getting together with your buddies and really enjoying something like this. So I think we're in for a great treat today.
Yeah, quite a few teams in this, and yeah, you know, having a few laughs with your friends on this will be good fun for all of these drivers. At the moment, I mean, in qualifying, and I hate this. You know, there's some things as, you know, commentators, and I've been commentating now for about 3.5 years, and there's a few gripes that you develop, and you launch into a session, into a season, and some things you don't want to see. And one of the things you don't want to see is 2 drivers with the same surname in the session. And the only thing that's worse than that is when they're first and seconds in the session. We've got the Rose brothers, Lewis Rose, who's currently on provisional pole. However, his brother or father or relation, or maybe even another random person with that surname, I imagine it's one of the prior ones. They were both very competitive in practice, and in fact they're the same team as well, so Aaron Rose and Lewis Rose. We have had to add the four-name letter just at the front of everyone's names. They're the only 2 which need that, but that is what they've brought us to, because they look very competitive. I mean, we've got used to Formula 1 where the top 2 drivers are the second clear of the rest of the order. I mean, that is impressive in sim racing when everyone will be running very similar setups. The 2 Roses absolutely flying away with this one at the moment. Really impressive. And I'm sure they'll try to keep that up. We've still got 16 minutes left of qualifying, so plenty of time for the others to try to put a bit of pressure on them if they possibly can. Vert's currently the closest driver to them. Also got some familiar names for us on Apex Racing 2. We've got Mark Tranter, and then we've also got Dane Baird, who we promise will not be biased towards in betting, but will probably be more negative to them than the others. Frankly, at the moment they aren't doing very well, so we haven't got to worry about that. Mark Transit, to be fair, was very competitive in qualifying, but you can see, apologies, in practice, you can see so far many of the drivers not getting a representative lap in. It's quite easy to pick up a one exit. The drivers get 17 incidents as Aaron Race just goes to the pole position. If a driver gets 17 incidents during the race, they will get a drive through. And then for every 5 incidents after that, I believe, they will get another drive through. So it is something to be cautious for, these drivers. Got to be keeping an eye out for all of that. But in this practice session, or in this qualifying session, just about finding that perfect clean lap will be one of the most tricky qualifying sessions around a relatively long cycle compared to the other tracks that we're going to visit this season. And of course, keeping it within the confines will be a great challenge for these GT3 guys.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about trying to keep people different. We do our best, but you know, when they're that similar, what can we do?
Absolutely. Peter McKay, and I'm going to, you know, name and shame here, had an absolute mare the other day. He's been doing race reports for the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series all season long. And then all of a sudden we show him Trevor Humphrey instead of Bob Humphrey. Bob Humphrey, the championship leader. Trevor Humphrey, no disrespect to him, he may well be watching, but rarely inside the top 20 positions, frankly. And he managed to get them to compete in different classes as well. Absolute mare from Peter McKay. So we will try not to do that. But it will be tricky because they are at the top 2 on the grid, Rose v Rose, and it will be great to have a chat with both of them after the race, maybe one of their parents as well, see who is the favoured son. Lancaster just moves up into 2nd place now, puts a little bit of a dent into the Rose defence. Winbo also trying to improve, of course, driver from the Apex Racing League GT Championship, and notorious for some very good qualifiers is Emil Winbo, one of the best qualifiers in that championship. Only finished the championship, I think, outside the top 20 places, I think. That's for about 50 drivers, but I think he was about 10th in qualifying with our qualifying scores rating. So he is very good in this scenario, setting that one lap. Unfortunately, he is error prone. Is the Finnish driver. Apologies, the Swedish driver is Winberg. Yeah, Swedish driver is Winberg. But at the moment, 6th place, always going to be dangerous for him. Mark Tranter just came into the pit at the moment, and he isn't going to approve at the moment. Currently, our friend at Apex Racing TV, Mark Tranter, doing a good job up there in 8th place. He'll just get some new tyres on that car, get a little bit more fuel in, and then go back out onto track, although just escaping away from the track for a moment, maybe just making a few setup changes before he mounts another assault. Yeah, just 12 more minutes of the session to go. And you can see the track conditions there, 70 degrees Fahrenheit at the moment, and that is kind of early 20s in terms of degrees Celsius, maybe mid-20s in degrees Celsius at the moment. But it is getting warmer, 9 in the morning at the moment. So I'll just be getting a little bit warmer as the session goes on. And of course that will decrease the grip out on circuit. So it will be something for the drivers to just think about November the 7th. It's always nice to see a league admin actually set the correct date. Usually it's just 15th of May, but yeah, once again to Russell Barnes, he's running a tight ship out here, and he's pulling out all the bells and whistles. Well done to him for setting it to November the 7th.
I'm seeing a lot of drivers have gone for the Ferrari here. Seems to be the most popular car in the field today.
I mean, I don't have much experience in the GT3s recently. I broadcasted so many races in the GTEs, and in that, the Ferrari has been absolutely shocking for a number of months. And so it's nice to see the 408 actually out on circuit for once. I mean, have you driven in the GT3s recently, Jim? Have you had anything to do with them in recent times?
You know, a little bit, just as a matter of sort of, you know, curiosity and just wanting to drive everything that is drivable. I don't have the amount of experience I'd liked, but my understanding is that maybe the Ferrari is sort of a good midpoint between drivability and performance. I think my understanding is that the Audi is maybe the most forgiving car, but a little bit harder to rotate. And the Ferrari is maybe, as you would expect, maybe a little bit more nimble, a little bit more twitchy, but the speed is maybe worth it. So it'll be interesting to see how the cars stack up with one another. And, you know, of course, the Mercs are out there as well, and the BMWs. We'll just have to leave it to the race to get it all figured out, I think.
Yeah, I think so. As far as when time begun, as Stephen Hawking will, I'm sure, testify to this, the BMW is always good around the corners and rubbish down the straights, if I couldn't use a better word. And so, for British circuits, where we're not going to many Grand Prix circuits, we've got, you know, Snetterton on the calendar, we've got, of course, Brands Hatch, Silverstone, Oulton Park, and Donington. I guess they are the 5 British tracks. Come on, where is Not Kill everyone? Don't want to start that game. But of course, a lot of kind of tracks where there's a lot of corners, not a lot of straights. So I'm surprised not more drivers have gone for the BMW. It's also quite a loved car. You know, used a lot over the years, so drivers will be quite used to it. And yet, very few guys using it. And as you say, the Ferrari, the car of choice at the moment. Albeit, you know, 2 Mercedes up on the front row of the grid at the moment, and the Rose brothers, who are like a formidable force, currently occupying 2 of the top 5 places. This is going to be a story of the season, I'm sure. 20-minute qualifying, so there is time for the drivers to set a lap, but it is really tricky to find some space out on circuit in order to set a competitive lap time, and I think that's what some of the drivers are finding at the moment, just struggling to find a clean piece of circuit for them to really set a clean lap, because this is a track where you want clean air rather than a draft from the driver.
Yeah, you know, some of those corners on the backside where we are just now is watching this car proceed around is, you know, the track, or excuse me, the corner entry is blind, but you're, you know, at a very, very high speed, and you need a lot of trust in yourself and the grip of the car. Tough to have that if you are a little bit worried about coming around the corner and finding another car directly in front of you.
Yeah, that is, and of course in qualifying, there's no point in hesitating, so you may as well just put your foot down, and if you miss them, you miss them. If you don't, then, yeah. But that's, yeah, you just got to, like, not hold back with that also. I mean, first lap as well, particularly into Druids, isn't it? Got Paddock turn 1, then Druids turn 2, I believe. And you see, you know more. I may be like the expert with all these British circuits, and you know more than me. And that will be potentially some problem areas. Also, this straight, Mark Tranter gets involved in a little bit of a crash. Mark Tranter, by the way, who works for Mercedes. He works for Mercedes F1 team. He's not running the Mercedes car. And Mercedes, if that's not a message to you that your cars aren't very good, I don't know what is, to be honest. I don't know if he gets a company car or something, Mark Tranter, but that is disgraceful going to the rival German brands. But there he is, with a smile on his face according to his profile picture. That's what a betrayal.
Well, you make a fine point. Now, he's gone for the Audi, so if... Oh, there's a big pile-up at Druids there, it looks like. So he's gone for the Audi. I think it would be worse if he'd chosen the Ferrari because, you know, Formula One competitor, Audi's not figuring highly in Formula One at the moment. So if he worked for the Le Mans team, that would be different, I think. Then he wouldn't be allowed to drive an Audi or a Toyota.
Yeah, good shout.
Of course, I'm making all of that up.
well, hopefully some of his co-workers are listening along. I mean, I know maybe this is Spygate all over again. I don't want to accuse Mark Tranter too much, but I mean, this is the early signs of it. Is all I can say. This would be the first scene of a Hollywood movie. He's down to 15, so he should have gone for the Mercedes because at the moment the Audi isn't serving him too well. A lot of Audis out there, and it's nice to hear that Audi scream really down these straights, because we don't have that many Audis on the sim. We've got the Audi RS3 TCR car, but in terms of kind of GT cars, I believe that GT3 is the only one that we've got. No GTE car, of course, that Audi produced, so it's nice to see them back out on track once again. Just seeing Ocurrence currently out on circuit, currently in P30. We have got 34 cars currently who have set times. A couple of cars, of course, Russell Barnes, who will be starting from the back, and Isaac Allen. Not sure if Isaac will be taking the start or not, but they're just starting at the back. We are getting into the final few moments now, actually, I say final few minutes, we've got 5 more minutes, we've got the final section. If you haven't put in a competitive time yet, whether you've been stuck in traffic or whether you picked up 1x's on all your laps, this is where it starts to get a little bit of a sweaty time, to be honest. You need to start finding a decent lap time, because if you start 10 places further down than you ought to, then that's going to be a tricky 10 places to make up down a track like this.
Well, you're absolutely right, and we do have a lot of cars within a pretty tight interval, which says to me, you know, I'm seeing a lot of 122s, a whole lot of 123s. I think we're going to have a really good race today. I mean, a big field, as you say, but everybody's pretty close.
Yeah, it's nice when we don't have a runaway leader, even in qualifying. I mean, the last GT3 League I covered was the Sim Racing World GT Championship, and Martin Van Liesnold, the king of that, until this last season when it all went bad. But he was winning almost every race, and was clearing qualifying by about half second. Everyone mega close, however. And of course, when we got these British circuits, very tight twisted circuits, it can go wrong so quickly. So easy to get involved in a crash, and so even if you do have the pace, it will come down to more than that if you are going to become the champion. Jack Knight just set his last lap. He was 2/100ths off his best lap. So Knight, despite being right in the tie of the car ahead, I think that was tactical, it seems. Some flashing of the lights there between the two of them. So Knight has a big spin, and that's going to get in the way of the others in the middle of the track. And yellow flags for everyone else. Lots of incidents so far, but you can go back to the pits and get back out instantly anyway.
I'm going to try to pull out some of my favorite British phrases today, since we're at Brands Hatch. I'm going to see if I can get some use out of "Oh my giddy aunt," "Oh dearie me," "Fill your boots." I'll try to think of a few more while I'm at it.
Yeah, some Murrayisms as well, Murray Walker quotes as well would be ideal. I probably say them all the time, to be honest, and yet totally unaware in my British ignorance. At the moment, not many drivers improving at the top of the standings. Still the Roses in 1st and 5th. It's Aaron leading the way, but it hasn't improved for a little while. I think his best lap was on something like his 3rd lap, and I think he's on about his 8th lap. It's coming up as 11.6 on our screen, but that includes in laps and out laps, of course, so not totally reflective. And of course, you may not push on all your laps either. Just lining up now for another run. Billy Fletcher, who is a former driver, he might still run in the World GT Championship. Of course, used to be covered on Apex Racing TV, and a solid driver. Billy Fletcher was one of the top Pro-Am drivers, could usually get a top 10 in a very competitive field that. And so Fletcher up there in 2nd place, doing well at the moment. He will certainly be one to watch out for. Apart from that, we're not really aware of that many drivers. I mean, we know about Fletcher, we know about Winbo, we know a little bit about Mark Trent, but I've never seen Mark Trent drive. I've just spoken to him in the past, obviously. So a lot of fresh faces for us, and so all you viewers who thankfully are tuning in for this stream, you'll be learning these guys as we do, as we kind of picture together who is the fastest drivers out here. 1 minute and 30 to go in this 20-minute qualifying session.
Yeah, interesting to me to see the Mercs at the top of the timing tower. I think that's something that we're all familiar with, a Mercedes 1-2. But just looking at the times, it does look like we are going to have quite a race on our hands. And of course, as you know, just because you're able to qualify quickly doesn't mean you're able to make that happen in the race.
Yeah, getting through lap 1 will be a big challenge. for these drivers. I have to bring it up, by the way, and you'll get used to this, Jim, over time. But I once won a championship. I think it's the only championship I've ever won in the BSR Radical Championship, and actually beat some good drivers because they kept on crashing, whilst I had my one mission of finishing last in every race but not crashing. And this was, I believe, the first round of the championship. I think apart from breaking out my own teammate, I did quite well. I recall through the back end of the track, there was this massive crash in front of me, and I literally like skimmed past a few drivers. I got a 1x, and I was past before I even knew it. You know, as you were saying earlier, got blind corners around this place, and you just drive straight past it, and you don't even know what's happening. You just thankful that you still got all 4 tires, and that is going to be what this first lap is going to be about. There will probably be a few crashes on the first lap. I mean, these I think are good drivers, but it's just the way that this first lap is turns out. With, I mean, all you need to do is just dip a wheel onto the grass, don't you? And then that's it. You can easily have a pile up. So just surviving this first lap is going to be the big challenge for these guys.
Yeah, there's that 1-2 punch of the Paddock Hill and then Druids. I mean, we do have a rolling start here today, so hopefully the drivers will be able to sort of keep themselves out of one another, but it is a tough, and I think you'll, as you well know, we'll see as the cars come around for their first flying lap, that's when it can get really nasty at that drop at Paddock Hill.
Plenty to watch out for. Qualifying session, the checker flag is out, but the drivers can complete the lap that they are currently on. Unfortunately, pretty much no one's on track. We've only got Callum Pratt, who, as you can see, or not see, has just towed back to the pits. A few drivers just rolling into their pit stall as well. And so we will soon get to your race, 1 hour in length. And hopefully you're excited as we are, because, you know, we cover a lot of series on Apex Racing TV, but it's usually, you know, the same series over and over again. We don't usually get a brand new championship like this, because this is the Finding Speed League, all GT3 cars, and big thanks to Finding Speed for letting us broadcast this, of course, on their YouTube channel, and of course setting all of this up, and of course a fantastic community, Finding Speed, all about improving your competitiveness on iRacing. And so if you're looking to get any kind of driving tips or tips about iRacing generally, go to Finding Speed. If you're watching on Apex Racing 2, go to the Finding Speed YouTube channel, give it a subscribe, and, you know, watch a few of their videos. And also, of course, if you're on the Finding Speed YouTube channel, if you haven't already subscribed, do subscribe right away and check out those videos for yourself. And you can have access to all those driving tips, and also really useful setups, which are so important, especially if you've got a rush schedule. Just jump into a session, download the setup, and you're away, and you know that you've got a competitive car underneath you. We've got plenty of time with this. The drivers, we don't do a full formation up. We should do a full formation up. Got 2 corners, so I'll have to kind of rush through this. I've got 2 minutes of gridding up. Aaron Rose on pole position, Billy Fletcher alongside him on the front row of the grid. Then it's Christian Furtz in third, Robert Lancaster alongside him on the second row. Then it's Lewis Rose, Brandon Coates, the top American driver. Jack Knight starts in 7th. There's Emil Winbo, Mark Tranter, Adam Groves, EJ O'Donnell Lines, Igor Bembic, Chris Southey, Matt Jackson, Stein Van Nylen, Silas Craig Volek, John Dinkel, Nick Cabre Sindrau, Jim McIntosh, Chris Tapaye, Dane Baird, Chris Guyem, Aaron Lord, Callum Pratt, Max Christiansen, Tom Hutchins, Harry Weir, Paolo Antonieri, Luke Davis, Dan Ocaranza, Dave South, Levi Gaffeni, John McClellan, Alexander Roggenbuck, and Russell Barnes taking the grid right to the end. Russell Barnes, of course, is the man who has organised this all up. He'll be starting from the back, though 5th place. Now, if Russell wins this race, then that is testament to his driving ability. And if he can win this race, then you should listen to his videos, to be honest, because clearly he knows something that I don't. Yeah, we've got 20 more seconds of this gridding up process to go. It looks like Isaac Allen isn't going to be able to take the start. Yeah, we just wait to see what's going to happen on this first lap. It's really tricky to tell what's going to happen, but it's going to be an important first lap, absolutely, Jim, isn't it? Because whatever positions you're in after the first lap, it'll be tricky to overtake beyond that.
I think so, although I think we're going to see a pretty dynamic field just because these guys will be feeling each other out today. I do want to echo what you said about thanking so much Richard Barnes for setting this up. I appreciate it. We're really looking forward to this today. Here we come around to the start and finish.
Here we go. Got Angos on the pole position. He puts his foot down and we are away racing. It's a Luxem 24 1-2 at the moment as they head into turn 1. And then Finding Speed UK Tour is underway for the season. Winbow with a poor start, he's dropped back. Also Bembic as well. Has been a little bit of a clash further down. There's quite a big gap further down the order, and that is why a few drivers spinning off the track. Little runner on the outside of paddock, and Dane Baird as well is into the wall. That is a big shame for Dane. But it's Aaron Rose still leading the way. Furthest up change has been Lewis Rose, who's got past Robert Lancaster, who's dropped down a couple of places. Lancaster also Braden Coates as well, having a bit of a poor start. Jack Knight up a place. Igor Bembic having to tow back to the pits. Here comes Lewis Ward. He's got Lewis Rosso. He's going to try to gain another place. Just has a look down the inside, but no way for him. Trying to make it a Lux Sim 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Other big gainers, John Dinkle with a fantastic start. Starts at 17th, he's up into 13th. And I think, Jim, partly due to the field being slightly more spread out, we've actually been able to avoid most of these problems so far. And the drivers, apart from that one incident at turn 1, have driven exceptionally well.
We do seem to have a pretty good snake going on here, a pretty good little conga line. I'm certainly enthused about that pack at the front of the field, at the sharp end of the field. Nice bunch of cars, all together. It seems to me we're going to have a great race today. It's not, we're not seeing people, as you say, completely breaking away into the distance. But yeah, I think there were some cars that got a little bit loose there coming down toward the paddock hill, and that caused some brake checks and some of these sort of inevitable troubles in the gravel trap there. Sorry to see Dane Baird caught out. I happen to know that he's a fine man.
I wouldn't go that far. One of the worst men, in my opinion. Dane will be back next week, hopefully. He hasn't got a good run around this place. I think I've only seen Dane drive twice, and one of those races was here at Brands Hatch, and that went better than what that turn 1 went, which, but not much better, which kind of shows. No, that wasn't good. That was in a V8 Super Cup, so slightly different. But once again, Brands Hatch not a happy hunting ground for Dane Baird. Robert Lancaster, these front guys with a bit of a gap between one another, but Lancaster, who qualified up in 4th place, really good job for the RPM racing driver, is just dropping back at the moment. He's got Braden Coates, who also dropped a place in the first lap. Mark Tranter, at least one of the Kairos competition drivers are doing well. He's actually got his teammate as well, EJ O'Donnell, right on his tail, 8th and 9th places, as Luke Davis just tows back to the pits as well. But even if you're a little bit faster, just at the moment, few moves up in these top positions.
Yeah, really interesting to me to look at the timing tower and see all those Audis together. So Merc, Ferrari, Merc, Ferrari, and then 4 Audis together, almost as if we're already seeing, the differences in the cars play out. Of course, time will tell over the course of the race. Plenty of racing left to do, but interesting to see them in a knot there.
Oh, we got Jackson off. And Matthew Jackson going to have to rejoin the circuit now, and losing a lot of time, just trying to back up, trying to get a slightly better angle onto the track. Has he got back on safely? I think he may have had to, I think another driver may have had to brake there just to avoid him, but he has got past. Russell Barnes now. Russell Barnes up 11 places, and the race win is on all of a sudden. You thought that it was over, but Russell Barnes, he started in 35th place. He's up into 24th, which is the most places gained of any driver so far. He's got Antonori now right in front of him, but Barnes doing a good job. I did look at his iRacing, Russell, and I think he's about 2.7k, which is nice and solid, although he has done a lot of racing recently and is improving, so he'll be one of the most competitive drivers out here. And you can see Rose there, only with 2.8. I'm surprised Ledger's only got 3.2. I thought he was a little bit higher. So, you know, Barnes actually with one of the highest iRacings out here, and we'll have a bit of fun just picking these drivers off one by one.
Well, he did say he wanted to handicap himself so that he didn't, at the end of the series, hand himself a trophy. So he's he's not doing this for his own laud and magnification. He's setting up, you know, something everybody can enjoy. I can respect that. But yeah, to be able to glean already, you know, here we are on lap 4, and to see him, you know, 11 places up, that really speaks to the strategy of just staying on the track, doesn't it?
Yep, and just as you say that, that was like the opposite of a commentator's curse. That's a good sign. That he manages to gain a place. By the way, we also had Lewis Rose just getting past Christian first, so it's now a Luxim 24 1 2 3. Knocking out the podium, certainly establishing themselves as the team to be. I wonder if you can get a replay of that change for third position. Just probably 30 seconds ago or so. But yeah, Lewis Ward moving up into third place. Lewis Rose, apologies. We've got a Lewis Ward in another championship. And I think I'm getting confused between the two of them. It's Lewis Rose, who after just slipping down in qualifying was really impressive in practice. I think was first or second in practice. And was up there as well in the standings in the starts of qualifying. He just started dropping down, and this is how he got it done. A little bit of contact maybe, although that may have been netcode, but I think fully legitimate there from Lewis Rose. And just picking up on a slight mistake from Christian Wirtz, and we have got a Luxim 24 1 2 3. But certainly Billy Fletcher keeping the leader on it at the moment. Those two, the only drivers in the 122s at the moment, which isn't far off what they were doing in qualifying.
No, you're right. It's yeah, we are going just a little bit slower. As you say, we did have quite a few drivers in the 122s for qualifying, a little bit slower here on the track. But I think as it rubbers in and as the race goes on, especially as these leaders have laps with clean air, we'll probably start to see that time come down, especially since they seem to be working together a little bit here. The number 1 car towing the number 2 car through the air. So they've got a little bit of a gap.
They've got to, well, hopefully as we've got that side by side further down, so very close. Lord, Tapio off the track. Oh, and he's crashed as well into the 21st position of the car. That was Winbo, I think, that he's just hit. And there might be damage on that car. Can Tapio get back to the pits? No, he can't. He's going to just tow back. Also, I think we just had Trent. No, Trent's staying in 8th place, sorry. Yeah, that was all very chaotic. Also, those 5 cars tripping over one another and just dipping a wheel onto the grass again. It is so slippery with this new tyre model, which is used on iRacing for a few months now. And if you dip a wheel onto the grass, it was tricky in the first place, but now it's even more tricky. It's so easy to over-rotate the car. And that's just what we saw there. And I think it was Winbo. He got caught up unluckily there.
Yeah, that will happen. I mean, you know, you called it. You said, I believe, at the beginning of the broadcast that you do not want to dip a wheel here. Not a very wide track by modern standards. Of course, glorious, beautiful, iconic, but, you know, compared to a track like Silverstone or Circuit of the Americas, you know, these tracks are unbelievably wide with all the runoff you could ever want. So you dip a wheel in this grass, and that's what you'll have.
Yeah, and it's nice to just have a variation. I think that's the important thing with all these championships. And of course, it will be nice to visit Silverstone to stretch these cars' legs. Ooh, was the 14th position car. That's Dinkel just moving ahead of Craig Rollick there.
Could very easily have gone worse.
Yeah, that was nearly a quarter panel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got Tranter.
Tranter. Oh, no.
Well, he's left his mark. Unfortunately, that's an easy one. I'll have to think about this for the rest of the season. He's down to 14th. He's I was going to say he's around his teammate, but unfortunately Winbo's, of course, had troubles, and of course Dane Bears has had troubles as well, so not a good start to the season for Kairos competition at the moment. Dane Bear did tell me how to pronounce that. I believe it is Kairos, not Keros, it's Kairos. I believe, and Trenta in 14th place. And like I said many times, it's tricky to take around this track, and these will be tricky positions to move back up. He's got Craig Rollick, who did make a move, to be fair, on another driver a little while ago. Maybe that was Dinkle on Craig Rollick a little while back. But Trenta now right on his toe. He's got to start making these moves. We're nearly 10 minutes into this 1 hour race now.
Yeah, right you are. So far, you know, we've seen a few incidents, but oh, there, shouldn't have said anything. Although, ooh, get it back. Oh gosh, that's the worst moment, isn't it? When you've rejoined, you're terrified of the cars that are coming behind because they're, you know, you don't want to create an issue, but you get that feeling in your mind of the place that you just lost, even though you lost it. I mean, that looked like an unforced error to me. But you have this feeling in your mind of that was my place. And you want to get back on the track and get back to your place. So the car is sliding all over. You got to just wait, settle it down, and take a breath, and then go at it again.
Definitely. Yeah, you just need to reset your mind, don't you? I think that's the case with any sport. I mean, if you can see the goal in where you'll think, oh, we should be ahead, but you just got to think in the moment, guess what's happened before. Restart again. Who is that just in the Ferrari a couple of places ahead? That is Aaron Lords, I think. I like the way that they've done the grille on that. I've just seen the M, maybe it's just the M place. I'm not even sure if I've got his livery probably correct, but I do like the way that they've done the yellow highlights there. Not too much on that car, but pretty good. Anyway, we don't have to do a livery of the season in this, but we will still make an unofficial one. I'm sure we'll come to some conclusions by the end of the season.
I kind of like Guillaume's livery there. It's got he's in a BMW, but he's got sort of a Patronus colors. So, interesting choice. Looks a little bit like a drift car with the colored wheels.
It does. Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. I don't think that is the Patronus turquoise. I feel like that's a slightly different colour, which looks a little bit odd. I see, why is Mark Trenta not running that livery? I mean, come on. Mercedes F1 man. I mean, just get the livery off him. Yeah, I mean, it won't work particularly well because of BMW, not an Audi, but it'll still work in some sense. Mark Trenta really letting down the side there. Winbo trying to get past here, trying to get past Guillaume, but he cannot do it at the moment. We've got Barnes just behind, Russell Barnes, or another driver actually got by. Of course, yeah, it's the league organizer, and he's up 14 places now. And if he can pass Winbo, and Winbo's a competitive driver here, that would be very impressive. Guillaume probably doing the wise thing there, lifting out, letting these guys go, and just minding his own business. But Winbo and Barnes well out of position. We will see these guys, I think, fighting for podiums at some point this season. But at the moment, fighting over 19th and 20th.
Has Barnes gained 20 places now? 17 or 18, surely. Because we started with 37 cars?
15 at the moment. Started 35th. Up into the top 20 now. Highest gainer so far.
Nothing to sneeze at.
No. Yeah, I mean, next highest gainer is John McLennan with 8, and he started 33rd. He's up into 25th at the moment. It's McLennan. Also, Callum Pratt, actually, I am blind seemingly. In the 999, he's gained 9 places so far. The Australian driver, the only Australian driver out on circuit. Also, Max Christensen, to be fair, is also Australian. But hopefully he doesn't get in too many wheel-to-wheel battles, because his ping is going to be absolutely shocking. But at the moment, he's somehow avoided all the crashes, and he's doing very well. As Van Nyland just gets ahead of Southey a bit further up. The Belgian getting ahead of the Brit. That's for 10th place. And yeah, Scott now up into those top 10 places. He's up 5 places himself.
I think we have 3 Aussies. Christensen, Guillaume, and Pratt.
Aha, you are right. Yep. Once again, I'm blind. Need to go to Specsavers.
How you going?
Oh, Fletcher is getting ahead. He's getting ahead of Aaron Rose. We have a change for the lead. And what is that all about? Fletcher has been all over the back of Aaron Rose so far in this race. He's got the gap down to a couple of tenths of a second at times. but that just seemed like Aaron Rose gave that to him. We'll have to get a replay of it because we tried to switch to it immediately as we saw it occur, and this is what happened. Was it a mistake from the lead driver? That looks like it's just a lift-off there. He's almost let his teammate past.
I think so, yeah. Although I think the number 2 car gets a little bit hot here into turn 1, but he manages to control the slide. That's, well, maybe not even, but yeah, that definitely looked like a, here, you can have this.
I don't know what their mindset is with that. Maybe, I don't
Tire
know.
saving, fuel saving.
Yeah, maybe fuel saving, but if this was Monza, you could understand that. But, you know, it's Brands Hatch. You're not going to save a whole lot of fuel in the draft. You'd think that you could break the draft as well. I don't know what the logic there for Aaron Rose is. They'll probably be in the same Discord as one another, or whatever communication device they use. And so they've coordinated that between themselves. And so Billy Fletcher started in second place, a 10th off Aaron Rose in qualifying, leads this race by 8/10 of a second, and since that move has been able to extend that a bit and maybe even be out of draft range. The draft isn't particularly strong in these GT3 cars, of course. So Billy Fletcher all of a sudden looking very strong for this race, but we've still got 3/4 of it left to go, and a pit stop, of course, as well for the drivers to take.
Yeah, you would think that, well, yeah, I'm just sitting here trying to sort of game it out of my head. As you say, though, there is no way to know, but that definitely was a, you know, definitely just letting it breathe and letting the other car go by. And it's exactly as you say, Fletcher now building up his gap. Looks like he's going to, well, he's getting on for a second gap on Rose there.
Yeah, driving really well is Billy Fletcher, of course, experienced in these types of races, used to the World GT Championship, like I said earlier on, 20-minute sprint races there. This is quite a bit different, but still driving just as well. Is Fletcher off the track? He's all of a sudden highlighted red, but he must have just dipped a wheel onto the grass. And of course, these drivers will get penalties if they pick up too many incidents. 17 incidents, you get a drive through, and it is short, you know, pit lane rounds here, but obviously you don't want that to happen. So you just gotta watch out for that, because every time you do dip a wheel onto the grass, you do pick up one of those incidents.
I think he did pick up a 1X, but it's, yeah, I think it was just a dip in a wheel. Looks like he's got 2 for the session so far.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not too bad for him at the moment. So too much to worry. Dane Baird in 30th place. He's about to be lapped. Yep, just about to be lapped. Has got a clean car though now, Baird. He could go to the end. He doesn't have to pit, but he will have to pit for fuel. So in the rules, he doesn't have to pit, but he will run out of fuel if he doesn't. So I would advise for it. Ooh, Baird with a mistake. Oh, that was close, just dipping a wheel onto the grass. He's clearly got stage fright, Dane Baird out there, because whenever we've cut to him, it's been going terribly wrong for him, and that was nearly very bad for him. He is being caught hand over fist, and he will have to let these drivers pass soon. Of course, this isn't, you know, Formula 1. You don't have to, you know, lift off and let the other driver pass, but seeing that Dane is well out of position, I imagine he won't put up much of a fight.
Yeah, we're just seeing the lights beginning to flash on Fletcher's car there, letting Baird know that he feels he's getting close. Whether he's actually in contact or not is another matter. But yeah, I think Baird can feel the weight of our judgment whenever we cut to him, and that's what caused that little wiggle there, I think.
Yeah, poor guy. And of course, team manager, team owner. Christian Wirtz has made another mistake at turn 1. And remember, that's how he lost the position to Lewis Rose earlier on in the event. And he's made another mistake at that corner, something going wrong for him right there. And these mistakes will be costing him quite a bit, because he was keeping up with the drivers just ahead. I mean, he's pretty much maintained the gap to the top 3 since the early stages, since he dropped out of 4th, but that's straight away giving up about a second and a half. Yeah, in the first sector, 9.2 for the drivers ahead, 10.9 for Christian Wirtz. So that's a second and a half gone. I'm also getting really confused because you've got Christian. Did you have Christian Wirtz, F1 driver? What's that his name? I can't remember, but I keep on getting confused between the two of them because they sound similar.
Well, Brands Hatch really seems to be rewarding its countrymen today. We're looking at it, the top, what is that, 5 places are UK and Northern Ireland drivers. And we don't get put an American driver down there in 6th, Braden Coates, pelting along. There he is. But the UK drivers certainly seem to know their Brands Hatch, don't they? One assumes they'll know the rest of the tracks in the series as well, won't they?
Yes. But yeah, definitely. That will be as Dinkle and Tranter, I think, we were quite close at one point. Maybe not. 12th for Dinkle, 13th for Tranter. When we get to Snetterton in particular, and quite Oulton Park as well, that will be very useful to know those circuits because they aren't visited that much. Oulton Park, fortunately, now a free circuit, which is brilliant. So thanks to iRacing for making that a free track. I think it might have been the first European free circuit. A few of the American ones are, but none of the European ones are. So Oulton Park was a welcome addition, and in the series that I've been broadcasting, plenty of championships visiting Oulton Park. Now that that's free, it's very much a go-to for many of the series. So I think a few drivers will know that one, but Snetterton is one of the most disliked circuits on iRacing. I live about 20 miles away in the wonderful county of Norfolk. And Snetterton deep in, of course, beloved in my heart, but very much unpopular in iRacing, and I think the series tend to visit as little as possible, as if Kairos competition was having a bad enough day. They've just had another day. It's gone south for Southie. Terrible. So Chris is in the wall, and he has made another mistake. A few drivers making mistakes here, usually just running wide rather than spinning into the wall. And that was a bit unusual. I thought he was going to dip a wheel onto the grass there, but no, just over-rotating it, coming out the exit.
Yeah, just a little bit early on the gas. A lot of camber there in that corner, so you'd think that you'd have a lot of grip. But, in cars that have this much horsepower, you can definitely rotate the car when you least want to. And then when you do want it to, you're understeering all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, finding that setup round 2 is very tricky. And that's why you should sign up. Or not sign up. I'm getting used to sign-ups. But no, you just watch. You don't need to sign up to anything. You don't need to, pay anything. Just go to Finding Speed's YouTube channel, findingspeed.com, to get a good setup. That's an alright segue, and you can be nice and competitive and not have the issues that some of these drivers are having, although many of them will be using those setups. But of course, I don't think it's a fixed setup series. They have got the choice of what setups they want to use, but using the driver tips from Russell Barnes, of course, Finding Speed, and it will be helping a lot of them out. So certainly do check out the YouTube channel for tips on iRacing, and a really good community, as this race has so far shown. Antonori, he's missing his bonnet. That's a fundamental part of the car. We've also got Guillaume as well off the track. The Australian doing rather poorly at the moment. He's not turning back at the moment. I think he's back on track, but at the loss of many positions. There he is, 22nd. I think he was just losing places. Winbo also into the pits, and that, I believe, is our first scheduled pit stop. Winbo, who may well have damage as he has to reverse back into his grid slot. He comes into the pits. He'll go to the end of the race. Jim McIntosh now with a mistake for RPM Racing. He's down into 17th place. Not sure what's happened there, Graham Hillbent.
Well, it looks like we had a pretty good battle there going on between McLennan, Antonori, and Acaranza. So that's Scotland, Italy, and Argentina duking it out on track there. Antonori is doing everything he can to get around the Scotsman here. Has not been able to do it. Cars are both pretty well beat up. We are riding on board here with Antonori, whose car is the one that's missing its bonnet. So you can't see it, but you can see he's just all over the back of the car ahead here. He's going to attempt another pass, not able to make it happen. And there's Acaranza there. Just, oh no. Antonori lost caused another accident. Yeah.
That was a good save from Winbo there. Swedish driver really sliding it out there, really driving, but yeah, just and who's that slow on the inside? That's Joffeni or Penny, just slow in 33rd place being lapped. But shame for Antonoi then, if he already lost upon it, so I don't think it's even done any damage to his car because it was already damaged. Get to the pits, mate. I believe they get a fast repair, and so get to the pits and oh yeah, no limit. They can take as many fast repairs as possible. So Antonoi, get to the pits, get fueled up, and go to the end of the race. Oh, we got a car in the middle of the track.
Oh,
It's Braden Coates. And we've had another crash from Lancaster. And he's in the middle of the circuit now as Coates. And the other drivers don't know which way to go. And he's right on the...
hit. Oh.
Yeah, Dinkle? Did Dinkle hit him? I think he did because Chance's now past Dinkle. So what has happened here? So Coates has done it by himself. And I think it was Lancaster who was right behind him. So there's Coates. Oh, that's so unlucky. Gets on the brakes. And Lancaster hard into the wall. That would be a broken spine in real life. And Lancaster will have to go into the pits to get that car fixed. And really just not knowing what to do there was the Audi driver in the middle of the circuit. And a couple of others got involved. Coates has actually gone back to the pits, and so too has Lancaster, just to fix that damage.
Unfortunate, yeah. Unforced error there. We were just talking about dipping the wheel. But yeah, you hate to see it. For Coates was running well in about 6th place. Certainly not going to hang on to 6th place now. But we do have plenty of racing left to go. Not even at half time yet, so anything could happen.
Yeah, now the drivers getting quite spread out across the track, very much car spreading across the entire circuit. Adam Groves now up into 7th place after all of that. The top of the drivers who have come into the pits is Lancaster. So Robert was very lucky, if you can say that. I know he was quite unlucky in the first place, wasn't he? But he was quite fortunate, I guess, that he was quite close to the pit entry, and so he only had to survive a couple of corners before getting into the pits and using one of those fast repairs. And so Lancaster now just going to the end of the race with the fuel that he's got. No new tyres, of course, for Lancaster. A little bit more fuel in that car, and so he will be slightly slower than what he would have otherwise been. But fortunately for him, he's in 17th place. He's got a bit of fresh air just in front of him, so he'll be able to pound in some good laps. And we'll hope that he can still get at least a top 10 out of this race. He might even be able to fight for a top 6, I think.
Just watching the notifications for passes on track. And there's a flurry of activity out there. The timing screen is just, appears to me at least, to be just going crazy. Looks like we have a pretty good battle with, that might be...
Roggenbuck there, just for 29th. I think that he just got overtaken by Chris Tapio right there. Scandinavia. Apologies, not from... Well, he's from Scandinavia, yeah, but obviously you can see the flag there. What flag is that? That's not the Danish flag. That is
Norway.
It's I don't think the I don't think the Norway has that much detail. I think that's some other.
I'll look it up.
Yes. See, these are the big questions for these races. Who's winning the race? Who cares? But Clennon into the pits, and he's out to the pits now, so he gets his pit stop done. Who's just doing the pits? Anyway, he's getting some service done at the moment. Adam Greaves, of course, up in that 7th place. Billy Fletcher just pulling away again. So Aaron Rose got really close. I wonder if he could bring up the lap time comparison table or graphic. Because I swear Rose was really close on the back of him just a moment ago. Yeah, he lost a couple of, lost a few tenths, didn't he? In lap 18 and lap 19. But, yeah, was getting quite close, but just losing out in recent laps was Aaron Rose. It gets back up to 2.5 seconds now. And it's just expanded as well on this time round. So Fletcher doing enough after that weird change around they had earlier on in the race. Fletcher has been able to pull out the gap since then. And it's looking good to take this first race win of the season as we are nearly at the 30-minute mark.
I do think that is Norway's flag. I think it just looks a little bit weird because of the way that the pixels are. So
Okie doke. Cool. Fletcher into the pits. That's a bit early, isn't it? You'd think he'd want to go further than that.
yeah, interesting. Oh, just
apparently-
all of Scandinavia?
It's just the Scandinavian flag. Okay, I didn't know we had that. I didn't know Scandinavia had that, to be honest, but there you go. I didn't specify his precise country, so we put Scandinavia. Tranter into the pits as well, but yeah, that I know about you, but that seems a little bit early to come into the pits halfway stage. I'd want to start with as much fuel as possible, so I have to put in as little fuel at my pit stop.
Yeah, some interesting choices being made. I'm sure they know what they're doing. They're certainly not having any problem running at the sharp end of the field, are, Fletcher and the two Roses. So I'm sure they have their reasons, but it does seem a bit early. But, well, we'll see how it all plays out.
B. Fletcher has come out in some clean air. He's ahead of Aaron Lord, but only just. Where's Tranter in this? He is ahead of Sinju, and he's ahead of South at the moment. Ooh, who's that? Lancaster, who spun again. So Lancaster, he was actually doing... that's a big mistake there from Robert Lancaster, actually, because he, of course, had that crash earlier on, but it hadn't lost him that much because he'd been able to get his pit stop done quite quick, and it was looking like a top 10 for him. He's just lost 10 seconds with that spin at Heusinkveld. And that is a huge mistake there from Lancaster, behind some pretty good drivers and many drivers who are yet to take their pit stops. So will be tricky for that. Norwegian, he is Norwegian after all of that. After all of that, Tapio is Norwegian. Well, thank goodness we have learned that now, and we can move on with the rest of the broadcast.
Was that Lancaster's outlap? Because he just had damage and pitted to fix it, I think. So did he spin on his outlap?
I think that was about 3 laps ago when he came. I think he pitted straight away when he picked up the damage because it was crumpled, that car.
Yeah.
And that spin lost him the worst amount of time. I mean, a spin is bad any time. If it lost him 5 seconds, he would be ahead of these 4 cars right in front of him. Admittedly, one of them is a back mark. But instead, he's behind a bunch of them and got lots of work to do. Some drivers coming into the pits. We have had so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 drivers in the pits so far in this race. Ooh, Lancaster, he's all over the place now. What's going on with him?
Looks like we might have had a big crash with McLennan and Alcaranza somewhere else on track. Just seeing those notifications goes by, and I also just saw that Lewis Rose had something happen. That's currently running in P2. Must not have been that bad if he's still in P2.
Yeah, looking at his sector time, saying his last lap time wasn't too bad for him, but yeah, maybe something happening. 1.6 actually between the two rows, so yeah, didn't lose too much time. Maybe just dipping well onto the grass, as that is McLennan.
Getting into the rear of Alcaranza there.
Yeah. Not sure if that was netcode. That was very small. Yeah, well, apparently, according to Sam Humo, it was netcode. Very small contact between the two of them. McLennan not waiting behind. No live stewards in this championship. However, the drivers will be given penalties post-race, and they will be given a penalty that they'll have to serve at the next round. So they might get like a drive-through penalty or a stop-go penalty that they'll have to serve at the beginning of the next round. So any bad driver you see out there, that will be punished, but just not within the race. Ooh, that's a move, isn't it, from the Audi driver? Absolutely going down the inside. That was, yeah, Lancaster on Sinju. That was, well, you can see how he's frustrated because that was a long way back that over.
Seems to be driving a little bit angry. Here he is trying another sort of overtake on the inside. That is on Tranter. It is tough when you have what you feel like is an unjust sort of run of luck. You get a little hot under the collar, a little angry behind the wheel. He's going to try another pass. Looks to the outside, looks to the inside. Now he's on the grass, of course. and loses the place. Unfortunate. I was just about to say it's. I don't want to put any kind of bad juju on the man, but you know, when you drive angry, there is the chance that you make a mistake at a corner and somebody jumps on that opportunity. We just saw Sindru do exactly that.
Yeah, overdriving there was Robert Lancaster, wasn't he? You could see through the right-hander, the front tyres were having none of it. And he's constantly sliding the rear tyres as well. Maybe his... I don't think he was particularly aggressive earlier on, but having a tough time. But Harry Weir doing an awesome job. He's actually yet to pit, is Harry Weir. And he's doing so. That's really impressive that he's keeping these guys behind. I mean, impressive in one sense, pointless in the other sense. But we'll focus on the former for now. It's almost into the back of Sindru was Lancaster. They all got really held up, and Lancaster is so aggressive right now. He's putting his car down the inside every corner, and those rear tyres.
Gotta be, yeah.
It's gone, seemingly. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if there's like some glitch with the damage that he picked up earlier on, but he has absolutely no confidence in that car anymore.
You know, I wonder if Weir's tires are beginning to go off a little bit. He has been out there for the entirety of the race until now, and it looked to me, just in Druids, like he was taking a little bit more of a karting line as opposed to what you would expect to see in one of these types of cars, as we see Lancaster dip a wheel yet again. Just wondering if his tires are going off and it's causing him to take a slightly wider line than he would otherwise like to do.
Yeah, I wonder. Oh, as Lancaster's round, and that was only a matter of time. I mean, I feel bad for. It's like a documentary, isn't it, of Lancaster? What a terrible 20 minutes it's been for him. So he almost reverses back in. He is going to reverse back in. And the Mercedes not sure where to go. Lancaster takes back to the pits, and the driver who was running up in the top 8, because high is 6th or 7th place at one point. Apart from that now, going to be pointless for this round 1. Only top 20 get points, as we see him move for Tranter. This is big on Weir, who's holding him up quite a bit. Tranter is finally passed. He puts the car between him and Sindru. Tranter looking good now for a top 10 place, because most of the drivers in front of him haven't pitted yet. He's actually 4th place out of the drivers who have pitted. We've got Billy Fletcher, the only one of the front-running drivers who has so far come into the pits. Everyone in front of him still yet to come in for their mandatory pit stop.
You know, I think Weir's got to feel good about his defense there. We saw him just as he came across the start-finish line. He turned in a green lap, so that was his fastest lap of the race. Well, a pretty good lap for him anyway. So he did the best that he could to defend, and he was, running at the top of his game in terms of defending from Tranter there, but just eventually got that pass done, did Tranter.
Yeah, well, it was good defense, and of course not to make a mistake like that is really impressive. Hutchins and Winbo. Winbo passed up into 16th, and Hutchins losing. Sorry, is that Winbo? No, yeah, Winbo. Yeah, Hutchins. Yeah. Sorry about that. Griev now just on Hutchins' tire, who has come into the pit, but on lap 1. Apparently did Hutchins to pick up a fast repair, so Hutchins will have to pit later on in the race just to get some more fuel into that machine. He won't be able to go to the end of the race. The drivers are limited to 70%, like you said earlier on, and so they and usually say 70% will probably last you about 45 minutes probably. So they're reaching the limit of minutes or so.
Certainly within the window, as you would say. We're seeing Weir here still defending with Sindru. Great 3-car battle here, sort of in the middle of the field. And I think, if I may say, I think this is what this series is all about. Having drivers that being able to race all up and down the timing tower, and that's what we're seeing between these 3 cars here. Tranter, of course, as we were just saying, did get around to Weir previously, but they're still all battling for it, and it's all to play for here. But we're only talking about, 13th, 14th, sort of down the timing tower, but they're still having a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, you wouldn't guess it's for those positions. So far, very clean driving. It does seem as though Weir has that weakness to turn 1, and Sindru will take advantage of that, and he's straight past. Weir giving that up pretty easily. Once the driver went down his inside, he was like, well, yeah, you can have that one. A bit of damage on that bonnet as well, but he seemed really quick down the straight, going down into the final corner. Furt's into the pits, so that is another one of the front runners who has come into the pits now. So far, only Billy Fletcher, the only top driver who's come into the pits. Interesting, I'm just seeing Russell Barnes, who of course, it is Barnes, who of course started in 35th place, up into 12th place, has made a pit stop as well as Barnes, having an awesome run. He's actually 5th place out of the drivers who have come into the pits, and he took much less fuel at his last pit stop. He only took 16 seconds of fuel compared to everyone else 22 seconds. So Russell must know something, or he's deploying some hacks or something to give him some extra fuel. But he's up into 10th place now, partially thanks to that very short pit stop. But I wonder if he'll be in trouble later on. Meanwhile, we were seeing Furtz come into the pits. Furtz has had a terrible pit stop. What has happened to Furtz? I think I do know what's happened to Furtz, but I think he's got a pit entry penalty, which we see so often around this track because the pit entry line is very strict, and you've got to get onto the right side of the circuit in time. Someone always does it in each race, usually many drivers do it in a race. And it seems like that is what Furtz has fallen victim to, as we'll get a replay. If you're not over the white line, then you're going to get the penalty.
We just saw a puff of smoke in the distance there. I believe your detective work might be right on.
Yeah, just a little bit too late to get across, and Furtz with a penalty. That's a massive penalty as well. So he was stationed for 57 seconds. He lost about half a minute waiting for that to fix itself. Knight into the pits, so we've now got Billy Fletcher up into second. What's happened to Rose? I think Rose has done the same thing. Lewis Rose has got the exact same penalty, and the driver who started in 5th place, he got himself up into third. He had a great chance at 2nd place, has made the same pit entry error, and he's going to lose a half a minute, and he might not even get a top 10 tonight.
Unfortunate, you hate to see it. This kind of, that's.
So, a quick question now, is Aaron Rose, has he done it correctly? So Rose versus Fletcher, remember, Fletcher had the lead before the pit stops, but he pitted ages ago, did Fletcher. He was one of the first drivers in, he pitted 12 minutes ago. Winbase had to take back to the pits, I think, for some reason. That's a shame for Emil Winbate, but Rose, how long will he be stationed for? Fletcher will station for 22 seconds. It should be Fletcher who is still ahead because he set some good times, but Rose is on pit exit, and this is surely for the race win in this round 1 of the championship, and it is Aaron Rose who is ahead and has pulled off a suspiciously quick pit stop. Fletcher stationary for 22 seconds. Rose stationary for 16 seconds. Surely, Jim, he has not put enough fuel in that car. That is barely any fuel. How is he going to get to the end of the race from here?
Well, we'll know soon enough. It just adds to the drama of the race. We'll know if we get to the final lap and his car just stops, and about at this point on the track. But must have made an interesting choice, just seeing the cars, sort of looking at his track position and thinking to himself, well, if I take any more fuel, there's no way I'll be in the lead of this race. And that's definitely where I want to be. So an interesting bargain he's had to make with himself. Where is Zimbo going to come out? Oh, all the way down to 16th. Still in the pits.
I think he towed back to the pits, did Vimbo, so we may not see him. Or he'll be a while. Yeah.
He's going to make a sandwich.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Poor Emil. Once again, able to take the Caius. So we've got a Ferrari off the track. It's Burt's, who of course had that long pit stop. Also, I don't think he took a faster car, so he's still got damage on that car. So, no, that's just the paint scheme. It looks as though he's got some dents in that, some creases in the nose, but I think he's all right. Barnes now up into 14th place, although Barnes has just had an awful lap. Did he just come into the pits, Barnes? He just came into the pits. I don't know why, because he pitted on like lap 20. and he's had to come into the pits again, so maybe he didn't have enough fuel to get to the end of the race, but he's still doing well. For a driver to come into the pits twice in a race, start from 35th, and still to be in 14th with 15 minutes to go, that shows how quick he's been. Barnes has got Pratt to overtake ahead.
I think Barnes was up as high as 7th place, maybe?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I'm looking at the pit stop times for the drivers down the order, and there's some big changes. So just an idea, and hopefully we'll have a chat with some of these top guys when we, or any of the drivers. You know, anyone is welcome for an interview with us. As Dinkle, 8th place, Dinkle, he's gone off the track and he's lost a place to Trenta. He's down to 9th. But that's thanks to Simucube there for posting up those times. You can see a big range. The 50s are pit lane penalties, so those are the drivers who got pit lane penalties. But you can see quite a divide between the guys who took 15 or 16 seconds and the guys who took 22, 23 seconds. I just wonder, maybe those drivers who pitted at half distance, did they only put in enough fuel at the start to get to half distance? And therefore had more fuel to put in at their pit stop, and then other drivers put in lots of fuel, rimmed it to the tank, and then had to put less fuel in at their pit stop. Just an idea of why there's that change, because that's quite unusual. You'd think everyone would take the same amount of fuel.
Well, strategy. I mean, I'll go along with you. Also, I'll just say that it was a while after I started being involved with iRacing before I knew that you could do that. So, you know, if these guys are fairly new to the service, they might not know. Oh, no. A little bit of mistake there from Lewis Rose, but he managed to keep it on the track and get turned for Druids there. That could have, you know, that's a spot where many have gone wrong. Me included, I should say. Yeah, we've had a lot of offs around that, because it's bumpy as well on the gravel, real tricky corner. But very unique. I can't think of a corner similar to it really in the world of motor racing. Rose, of course, who we were just watching, 6th place. He got a 40-second time penalty. He's 41 seconds off the lead. You know, that's kind of where Rose would have been. You know, he would have been right with his brother or his relative or another person who shared his name. And with Fletcher, he would have been with his teammates basically. It would have been Luxem 24, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's a penalty really affecting him quite badly. Just a reminder as well of the point system that we have in this championship: 13 points for the race win, 28 for second place. So the gap between first and second is very big. It's going to be more down to consistency, nailing those kind of top 6 places in order to get the big points in this championship. And only the top 20 get points, which is quite an unusual twist in an iRacing league. Usually everyone gets points, but only the top 20 get points. You need to make sure that you're up there. Everyone outside the top 20, I think, today has had issues, so I don't think it's like unfair or anything. You can see Dane Baird up in 22nd place now, and he had to come in on the first lap and was a lap down after about 10 minutes. So that is the troubles that these drivers have had. This is certainly a baptism of fire at Brands Hatch, one of the trickiest circuits I think we'll visit all season. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, that's why I love it. It's, you know, you're going to see this kind of action, and just demands a lot of the drivers. It's so much fun to watch.
Rockenbach down to 28. Rockenbach a bit off the pace, I believe. His fastest lap is a 26.0, which is about 3 seconds off the pace. I think what Rockenbach is struggling with is just the amounts of drivers who are trying to get past him at this late stage of the race. There's drivers who are 1-lapping him, 2-lapping him, and also overtaking him for position. He's constantly being pushed offline. Not easy for any of these drivers. But Alexander, the German driver, still doing well in 28th position at the moment. As just over 10 minutes to go in this race. Rockenbach actually doing a good job of letting all of these guys go. We've got a good battle between Furtz, Lord, and McIntosh at the moment. Christian Furtz, you'd expect, will pull away from these drivers, seeing that he was running as high as 3rd place, because he started 3rd place, did Christian Furtz. He's pulling away from these guys, but Lord and McIntosh quite close to one another on that last lap. McIntosh was 1 second quicker than the car ahead, and this is for 11th place and for an extra championship point.
I think we got a pretty good battle going on ahead. I think just about everybody down to P10 seems to be battling it out pretty well. So it will be interesting to see how it, if Furs is climbing the timing tower, as he seems to certainly be, he can really throw a wrench into the works there.
Yeah, he's only 3 seconds behind Dinkle, isn't he? But Dinkle with some good lap times actually recently, at 24.4 for Dinkle. That's strong. Up in 9th place. Dinkle, who was, him and Trenta, of course, have been kind of embroiled in a race long battle, albeit Trenta has. No, Trenta's not by ahead. He's only 1 second ahead. So yeah, if those two battle, then Pratt's can get involved in that one potentially. We're currently watching Pratt battling Jackson. 58 seconds off the lead, but everyone down from about 7th to 15th, all very close to one another. Everyone with such a narrative in this hour-long race, as we always have in these events. Whenever we have interviews with drivers, they always pick up on stuff that we've missed in the commentary box, because so much does happen in these events. But Jackson catching up to the driver ahead. Just dropping up a little bit now. You'll have to pick where he's going to make that over to.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. We just saw a little dab of brakes there at the top of that paddock bend there for Pratt. He's trying to get the car settled down there. It seems like he's trying to play it a little bit safe, even though he does have Jackson filling up his mirrors. We are too far into the race to have any kind of sort of crazy unforced errors. If you're a driver at this point, you're looking at the clock and thinking, okay, well, I've kind of got my lot here, but I want to keep it on track and make sure I get 14th rather than 20th, right? So maybe trying to play it safe a bit there.
Yeah, probably was. I mean, it's only if I was a driver out here, knowing that what they can do is, I'd want to just get some points on the table in this round one, because 5-race championship, you can so easily get your first race or 2 races, absolutely wrecked by incidents out of your control. So when you can pick up points, especially with this slightly unusual point system that we have for this championship. 14th place will be pretty valuable stuff come the
7
season.
points for 14th.
Yeah, exactly.
Points all the way down to 20th.
Yeah. Always McIntosh and Lord bouncing one another. McIntosh gets his car on the inside. Nice move. Lord tries to squeeze him on the inside, but really nothing you can do once the other car's alongside there. And that was a really nice move there for McIntosh. Saw the opportunity, as we've seen so many drivers do so far, wide at paddock, and then pounce on that going into Jewett. So always a fantastic section of track. And he is up. Now Barnes will surely be past himself. Barnes, what's his fastest lap time so far? So his fastest lap time is a 23.1. That's about 3/10 slower than Aaron Rose and Billy Fletcher. But he's actually got the 3rd fastest time out on track. That's how fast Russell Barnes is. And I know that he doesn't want to get involved in the championship battle, but I would love to see Barnes up there at the top of the standings, fighting with the Luxem 24 drivers, because I think he could give them a good run for their money. He's really a very competitive driver, as one would expect.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching his sort of video there that you're seeing on the lower left of your screen there throughout the race, and he seemed to be kind of taking it easy and just putting in his laps. But now we're getting toward the end of the race, and he's got some people to battle with there. We're seeing the rear of Lord's car. He seems to be getting a little bit more involved, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. It must be tempting to go for the move right now. He's got time. I don't think he'll get McIntosh. He's already started pulling away. McIntosh with good pace for RPM Racing, currently the top running RPM driver. In fact, I think there's only one other, Robert Lancaster, who was with those issues earlier on. As I look away, all of a sudden I see Barnes ahead of him. Well, that's it. Did he just let him go there? Just drafting straight past. Barnes up into 12th position now, and that was all quite easy. So maybe he could go after McIntosh. McIntosh's last time was a 24.0. I think that was in clean air. He has Yeah, he could maybe be caught. Maybe Barnes will be able to catch him, but an overtake would probably be the more tricky once he does overtake him. So, but yeah, that was just letting Barnes go there for Lord. So 12th and 13th, good points for these drivers. Out in the lead, we haven't checked in on them for a little while. Aaron Rose still leading the way. Pole Sitter, who lost the lead to Billy Fletcher in a choreographed move. Maybe he knew what he was doing all along. We were doubting him, or certainly I was just downright confused what he was doing when he let past his teammate. But maybe he knew that Fletcher was running less fuel and that it would be inevitable that he would be able to get ahead when the pit stops sorted themselves out. Rose now just 5 minutes away from taking the first blood in this championship. And making it a 1-2 for lap sim 24.
Looks like Rose has got a 5-second gap there back to Fletcher. And I'm sure that he will be making a pass on Guillaume ahead here any moment. But pretty significant gap, I would think.
So who's that between?
I think that Rose has got 5 seconds on Fletcher in P2.
Yeah, he's been able to open that up, hasn't he? I mean, on that last lap, 0.3 of a second faster than his teammate. Considering that Fletcher looked faster in the early stages, looked faster kind of in the pit stop sequence as well. Remember, Rose only came out of the pit. Oh, we've got a car, we've got an Audi stationary. It's Dave South.
Dave South. Yeah.
It's gone south for him, and that's the second time I've used that. And I think the first time was too many. 11,
I have
9.
silently noted this.
Yeah, watch and learn. Dave South, 223rd, not in the points, of course, and he's a long way away from the points. But there's quite a chasm. As Adam Hedgecock, I don't know if Adam's listening along, I doubt he is. But as Adam Hedgecock would like to hear, there's quite a chasm between 20th and 21st. And Dane Baird actually just realised he's in 21st. Hutchins is off the circuit though, and Dane Baird might be in for a shot with points because there is Hutchins. Where is Baird in comparison? I don't think he's close enough. He is. Half a minute behind, he's definitely not close enough. Okay, he's got to catch up, come on, Dane. Pull your finger out. You got to catch up to Hutchins, get yourself onto the board because Kairos competition have a bit of an awful day. Mark Chanter, to be fair, doing a good job in 8th place. They've also got Chris Southey in 18th. But Dane Bird would like to get in those points positions. But he's too far back at the moment. Hutchins is going to need to make a few more mistakes if the Brits is going to catch up.
Yeah, come on, Baird. There's 1 point to be had in P20. Get a move on, son.
Yeah, skip the chicanes, doing a long day. Chicanes, what are they? You can't really do that around this circuit though. There's not many shortcuts unless you take the Indy layout, which is used to be a chicane at Dingle Corner, but they took it out, and now there's just Dingle Corner. And I think they renamed Dingle Corner. It's called something else now, Sterling's or something. It's one of those English F1 drivers. Yeah. Which corner is that? Which, as Rockenberg is on the Rockenbach, which is off the track. Pratt versus Jackson. I think Pratt's just got ahead of Jackson, and those two have been locked together for many a lap. Oh no, just saying the same way. Oh, what's happened to Rose in? Oh no, it's all right. It goes red on our screen. We're the worst, but he's all right. No one gets a drive-through penalty so far, I've just noticed. We've seen a lot of drivers dipping a wheel onto the grass, picking up 1Xs. Yeah, it seems like no one's reached that 17 instant limit.
Yeah, Fletcher just picked up another 1. He's up to 10, but nowhere near 17 with the race winding down. So we're about to go through Dingle right now. It's the corner that we're going through right here.
And there used to be a chicane there. I didn't know that. I mean, well, I'm glad there isn't one anymore. I guess it must have just extended the run up there, or the gravel trap. But yeah, that's weird to think that there used to be a chicane there, absolutely. We're into the last lap, potentially. No, we've got one more lap to go after this. There is Dingle in 9th place, ahead of Furtz. So Furtz has caught up to him. He caught by half a second on that last lap. Christian Furtz, who was in line for 4th position. In hindsight, a 3rd position with the issues that Lewis Rose has had, but he had the same issue as Lewis Rose. He picked up a penalty for his pit entry. Sinju, where is Sinju? Oh, he's on his roof.
Oh, no.
He's all over the place.
Oh.
And Nick Cabot, Sinju, he will try to get back going, but I don't think he'll be competitive to the end of the race. He's got, well, you know what, who's a lap down? Hutchins is a lap down. So as long as Sinju stays on the lead lap, he will finish in 19th place. But that is an awful car. What on earth has happened there? He must have got a big old hit from a car behind to flip in the air like that.
Yeah, seems to be running all by himself here. What could have... I wonder if that car ahead had an issue. It did indeed. Yeah, it just got shoveled off the track. Unfortunate.
Yeah, that was a lot of flips. And somehow that car's still drivable. And he's currently in 15th, is Sintry. His sector times aren't bad. They're not bad. What's this? He's just got past someone who's stationary on the edge of the circuit. Yeah, not sure who that is. Might be Frolic. But yeah, Sintry's still going. He's just done about 10 flips. Anyway, in the lead, it's Aaron Rose, who is going to take the race win. He slows down. Billy Fletcher will just make a choreographed finish here, and it is Luxim24 who lock out the front two places and take race 1 of the season in the Finding Speed Tour. A really nice win for Rose and Fletcher, who dominated this race. Maybe they could have been challenged by others, but they made mistakes and they were a comfortable first and second in the end. Jack Knight will score a brilliant podium, up 4 places from his start. Any other battles going on? At the moment, we've got Dinkle and Bertz. Bertz trying to get past. That was a good run for Bertz, and he'll be within passing range here. Will he look to the inside, into the final corner? Oh, he's going to go for it. And will there be contact between the two of them? They just about avoid, and it's now a sprint to the line. Who is going to take home 8th place? Can Bertz make it? No, he can't. Dinkle holds on. Oh, how is there not contact between the two of them? Right at the end of the race, Dinkle with good defence there and finishes in a well-deserved 8th place. Barnes from the back of the grid gets up to 11 and wasn't far away from getting a few more places. Couldn't get past McIntosh in the end, but Barnes will still be pleased with that 11th position finish, and he has certainly organised a very good lead because that was a lot of fun out there. It wasn't quite the lead battle that we were hoping for. Of course, the Luxem guys kind of working together at various points in that race, Jim. But further down the order, the battling was absolutely sensational and really good quality driving as well.
Absolutely. What a great race this was. I knew it was going to be a lot of fun, and it certainly was. We did see, a strong performance out of Rose and Fletcher there at the sharp end of the field, but, they didn't dance away with it. They had their pit strategy to contend with. Not to mention, all manner of cars and back markers flying left and right. So they certainly had to work for it. And what a great race it was.
Yeah, we continue your final order then. Aaron Rose beats Billy Fletcher by quarters of a second. Not very representative. It was about 5 seconds before the final lap. But at least they get some good photo opportunities with their cars. Also, that absolutely infuriates me. I don't like Luxem anymore because they got the capitals all wrong. They got the E spots. The E is meant to be lowercase. The S is meant to be uppercase. Deary me, guys, come on, sort yourselves out. But in terms of driving, really good in terms of naming the team. Not so good. Jack Knight rounds out the podium. Good podium for a night. We didn't watch too much of him because he was by himself on the most part, but so good job. EJ Donal Lyons, again, 31 seconds off the lead, but great job from him. Kairos competition, top of their competitive lineup. Stein Van Nielsen finished in 5th place, and then it was Lewis Ward. Oh no, I've done it again. Lewis Rose, apologies. Deary me. Sorry, Lewis. Mark Trenter was in 7th. Then it was John Dinkle, Christian Furtz, Jim McIntosh rounding out the top 10. Russell Barnes up 24 places. Aaron Lord was up 11 places. So nice job from him. Nick Kabasindri finishes in 13th place. Then it was Callum Pratt, Matt Jackson, Chris Guayem, Harry Weir, Chris Southey, Adam Groves, and Tom Hutchins. And that is your point scorers. The top 20 get points. Dane Baird misses out on the points. Bad luck. Chris Tapeo in 22nd place. Then it was Dave South, Emil Winby, Max Christiansen, John McLennan, Luke Davis, Alexander Roggenbuck, Dan Ocaranza, Paolo Antonori, Levi Goffeni, Robert Lancaster, Braden Coates, Silas Craig Vrolick, Igor Bembik, and Isaac Allen in 36th place. So well done to all of the drivers out on track. We will get some interviews with drivers. No one is waiting for an interview at the moment with us. So we will talk about what is coming up for the next round of the championship. Do we know what the next round of the championship is, Jim? Do we know what lovely British circuit we are visiting next?
Yes, we do. It will give me a moment to scroll. It is Oulton Park on the 20th of December. Oulton Park Grand Prix. 21st November.
Yeah, and I guess that's like it kind of most similar to this, isn't it? I mean, well, I guess a few more kind of slower corners around there. A lot of chicanes, of course, around Oulton Park, but narrow again, a lot of grass again, and tricky to overtake again. But well, I'm looking forward to visiting that one. Hopefully, these drivers have got some experience. I do believe one of the GT3 series visited that relatively recently, so they should know what to not to expect. Oh, actually, we do have it. Maybe I saw Dane Baird and thought that's a commentator's channel, but maybe I was just getting confused. So who is the furthest up driver we have got in for a chat? I think it is. Is it Russell? No, it's EJ. Donald Lines, who's in with a chat with us. Congratulations, EJ, out there. You get yourself a 4th position. You must be delighted for that round 1.
Yeah, ecstatic. I mean, just tried to, keep it clean all race, and to finish a race around Brands Hatch with only a couple incident points is a feat in itself. So kind of just let everybody else kind of wreck around me and managed to get a P4. So really excited.
Yeah, you kept it down to 4. Well done.
Yeah, so exciting.
Yeah, so pretty impressive to keep the car within the lines quite that much for the race. I mean, you started in 11th place. How did you gain all those positions? I mean, you said that other drivers just went off. I mean, was it mainly instants in the first few laps, or was it kind of just picking them off as the race went on?
There were a couple in the first few laps, and then really, the Audi's a tough car to keep a hold of. So just trying to keep a hold of it, and then, managed to make up a few spots on just pit strategy, really. So, yeah, it was kind of a lucky race for me, but ended up with a really good result.
And not a great day for you for the Kairos competition. I mean, not a bad day. You had Mark doing a pretty good job, but Dane just missing out on the points. How much preparation were you doing for this first race? I mean, were you using kind of your own developed setup, or were you using one from Finding Speed? What was kind of your process with that?
We actually took an Apex Racing setup and then modified their IMSA setup to kind of fit our driving styles, and we had really good pace. I mean, we had 4 of us that were within the top 13, I think, right off qualifying. But then Emil got taken out and Mark spun right away. So yeah, just unfortunate that those guys kind of got taken out. But yeah, just really ecstatic for my result, and we're gonna try and do better about just putting in the practice before the next round and make sure that we have four more good rounds as a team.
Definitely. What's your aim for this championship? I mean, 4th in round 1. You're going to be a championship contender if you can keep on getting consistent results like that. Is that the goal, or are there other aims in this championship?
Yeah, I don't usually race GT3 cars, so it's a little different. It's a little out of my element, but ultimately, if I can finish top 5, I'll be really, really happy with my results at the end of the day. But it'll be tough. There's some really quick guys in this league, so just super ecstatic to be where we are.
Definitely. Well, congratulations on your 4th place finish tonight, EJ. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just shout out to the guys over at Kairos. We put in quite a bit of work, and it's just an awesome team to be a part of, and really happy that I got to join up there. So thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, EJ, and best of luck for 2 weeks' time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
So that was EJ Donald Lines for Kairos competition, finishing a very impressive 4th place tonight. Jim, would you like to have a chat with anyone?
Sure, we've got Fletcher waiting, it looks like. If you want to... There he is. Mr. Fletcher, congratulations on your P2 finish. How are you feeling?
Pretty good, thank you, mate.
I'd expect so. You guys looked great out there. You got to be proud and pleased with a 1-2 finish. Do you want to fill us in on any in-race strategy we saw out there?
Yeah. Me messing up. I forgot to set the fuel to 82 litres. I only had 60 on at the start. So basically, me and Aaron, obviously we're in the same comms. I said to Aaron, said to me, you go past and see if I can build the gap up, because obviously I was going to be in the pit stall for an extra good 10 plus seconds. That was the reason why he let me through. So that was my error, which is a little bit frustrating. And also, Lewis got copped with a pit lane penalty. So possible 1, 2, 3 there was on the cards. Got ruined.
Well, I wouldn't call it exactly ruined. I mean, 2 out of 3 is not bad, especially if you're at the sharp end of the field, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, to be fair, we're still quite a new team. So to have the 3 cars at the front, obviously broadcasted by you guys, is fantastic, and it's nice to get the team towards the front, and it's nice to get the team name at the front as well.
Well, it was certainly a thrilling race, and I'm impressed. I mean, you seem to be showing us a little modesty, which I can appreciate, but I thought it was a great performance out there and a great race. How do you think it bodes for the rest of the series?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. It was interesting, like the practice sessions that Russell was putting up for us, and the times seemed very, very close. Even when everyone was doing qualifying laps, and I'd openly admit, and my team guys would openly admit, we were running qualifying laps and we weren't the fastest cars. We've also been chopping and changing cars on the run up to this season, trying to find the best suited car, because we wasn't particularly happy with the Audi, and we only literally jumped in the Merc the last night for the last practice session last night that there was. And yeah, it's just the case. We thought it was going to be really close, and we were quite surprised, especially me and Aaron at the start. We managed to sort of start pulling away, and we felt quite comfortable. I mean, my instant points were quite high, but that was because I was overdriving, trying to pull the gap with the fuel issue that I had.
Well, as I say, it was, it's as much as it sounds like you were kind of had a lot of balls in the air, you were juggling there. From here, it looked like a pretty solid performance. And as you say, you guys were pulling away. So we sure like to see it. It was a great race out there. Anybody you'd like to send a shout out to?
Obviously, a big thanks to Mr. Rob Pearson and Anthony, the guys that run Luxim, for sort of giving me the opportunity to manage the team and get an esports team together for them. It's been great, and really big thanks to them. Big thanks to SimStickers, Paul God, and Draper Tools, sponsors on the car. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting such a great race.
You bet. Our pleasure. Thank you so much. Great race.
Billy Fletcher there, P2 finisher. We are a little bit over the time, so we will just have one more interview, and we'll get Russell Barnes in with us. He rudely interrupts his conversation with the other
hello, guys.
Yeah, so hello, 11th place tonight, Russell. Must be very pleased with that, from 35th on the grid.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was quite happy with that. It was a lot of fun, actually. It was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be, but Brands Hatch is so demanding. There's no rest on that track at all. So about 40 minutes in, it's you really have to start gritting your teeth.
No, I don't. Of course, we are kind of promoting one of your or your YouTube channel. However, I don't know if it goes against you here. What was going on with the pit stops? Why did you pit twice?
I hit the wall really hard and bent my steering, and as it transpired, for whatever reason, I don't know how it happened. Everybody had infinite fast repairs by complete error. So I went and made use of one of those cheeky little fast repairs because someone was coming out of the pits, approaching turn one. They just completely caught me unawares, and before I knew it, I was running out of track and running out of time to slow the car down. So out to the outside wall. Bent the steering quite badly, so just hobbled round. Otherwise, I don't know, might have been closer to a fifth, but happy with that. Had a nice little battle with Jim at the end of the race there, just trying to claw my way into the 10th, but he wasn't having it.
Yeah, he defended where it looked like it was tricky to overtake out there. You must have been a little bit cautious not to hit anyone off. You did a good job with the overtakes. I didn't see any contacts for yourself, and yet you did still manage to make a lot of overtakes.
Yeah, thanks, man. No, it was good. It was really good fun. I think everybody was really considerate on the track on the whole. So I hope that continues. I mean, obviously there was a fair number of incidents, but I think Brands Hatch is one of those tracks that sort of baits issues.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you must be really pleased with how this first round has gone to have so many drivers, turn up for this first meeting of the season. It sets the championship in good stead for the future.
Yeah, absolutely chuffed to bits. I'm really, really pleased with the way it's going. I can't wait to watch the broadcast back after. But yes, yeah, I didn't think I'd pull a full grid in, and here we are. And I think 99% of us had a great time doing it. So back in 2 weeks for round 2 at Oulton Park.
Yeah, definitely. Before we let you go, Russell, is there kind of anyone you'd like to give any thanks to, and speak about Finding Speed as well?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks to Rob, who had a terrible incident like about halfway into the race. He's one of my admins, and he's been quite instrumental in helping me put bits and bobs together for the series. So thanks to him. He actually drives for RPM Racing. Both the teams won Petit Le Mans this year in splits 13 and 15. So well done, RPM Racing. And it's a racing team that came out of the chat of the Finding Speed YouTube channel. So it's really awesome that stuff like that's happening, and yeah, it's nice.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Russell, and we'll see you back very soon.
Cheers, guys. See you next time.
Russell Barnes there, league organizer, of course, and 24 places going to take 11th place finisher in the end. We will be back with you then for this series in 2 weeks' time. It's not every week this series, it's every other week. So we'll be back at Oulton Park in a fortnight's time. Of course, in between that, we've got loads of streams on Apex Racing TV. Do subscribe to Apex Racing TV because all of our content is on our channel now. Nothing else on the Esports Network, unfortunately. Seeing that the Esports Network isn't anymore, so you need to subscribe to Apex Racing TV to really watch the best sim racing in all of iRacing, of course. And we've got lots of categories: GT3s, GTEs. Of course, Formula 3 cars was on earlier on. You can catch the replay of that in the Apex Racing Academy VRS Formula 3 Super Series Season 2. But yeah, we've got prototypes as well, and absolutely everything on Apex Racing TV. So do give us a like on this video and a subscribe as well. And also, if you wouldn't mind, please check out our social media as well. A few race roundups and plenty of race articles as well for the championships that we cover. Go to Apex Racing TV on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all of that. But thanks to Jim Hodgson, who's been in the commentary box with me, Sam Fitzpatrick, and also thanks to Sam Kume as well, operating the cameras. It's Aaron Rose and LuxSim24 who have taken the first race win of the season. We'll see you back at Oulton Park in a fortnight's time. See you then.